Your mind is a battlefield, and right now you're losing the war. Not to external enemies, not to circumstances, not to other people. You're losing to the enemy inside your own head. The enemy that whispers doubts, that replays failures, that predicts disasters, that convinces you that you can't, you won't, you'll never. Negative thinking. And it's destroying your life. Every goal you've abandoned, every opportunity you've missed, every dream you've given up on, it wasn't because you weren't capable. It was because your negative thinking convinced you that you weren't. That voice in your head that says you're not good enough has cost you more than any external obstacle ever could. And today, that ends. Today, you learn how to kill your negative thinking before it kills your dreams. Not manage it, not cope with it, kill it. Because you can't negotiate with negative thinking. You can't coexist peacefully with it. You have to recognize it as the enemy it is and eliminate it completely. Let me be clear about what negative thinking actually is. It's not realism. It's not being cautious. It's not protecting yourself. Negative thinking is the automatic assumption that things will go wrong, that you'll fail, that you're not capable, that the worst-case scenario is the most likely scenario. It's the voice that says, why even try? You'll probably fail anyway. You're not smart enough to pull this off. Everyone will laugh at you. You always mess things up. Nothing ever works out for you. You're just not that kind of person. These aren't facts. They're not wisdom. They're not truth. They're lies, poison, mental viruses that infect your thinking and paralyze your action. And every day you let them run unchecked is another day you stay stuck, another day you don't pursue your dreams, another day you live below your potential. So here's how you kill negative thinking, step by step, weapon by weapon. Weapon 1, awareness and identification. You can't kill an enemy you can't see. So the first step is becoming brutally aware of your negative thinking patterns. Most people are completely unconscious of their negative thoughts. They don't even realize they're thinking them. The thoughts just run on autopilot in the background, sabotaging everything. But you're going to change that. Starting today, you're going to catch every negative thought. Every time you think, I can't, you're going to notice it. Every time you think, I'm not good enough, you're going to identify it. Every time you predict failure, you're going to call it out. You're going to become the observer of your own mind, watching, noticing, identifying negative thoughts as they appear. And here's the critical part. You're going to label them, out loud if necessary. That's a negative thought. That's fear talking. That's my inner critic trying to sabotage me. This simple act of identification takes away the thought's power, because when you identify it, you separate yourself from it. You realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the person observing the thoughts. And that means you have a choice. You don't have to believe them. You don't have to follow them. You don't have to let them control you. Weapon 2, challenge and interrogate. Once you've identified a negative thought, you interrogate it like a hostile witness. You don't just accept it as truth, you challenge it aggressively. Negative thought, I'm going to fail at this. You challenge it. Based on what evidence? Have I failed at everything I've ever tried? What skills do I have that increase my chances of success? What can I do to prepare better? Negative thought, I'm not smart enough. You challenge it. Compared to who? Based on what standard? Have I ever learned something difficult before? Can I study and prepare? Negative thought, everyone will judge me. You challenge it. Will they really? All of them? And even if some do, why does their opinion determine my worth? Are they even paying that much attention to me? Most negative thoughts collapse under interrogation because they're not based on facts. They're based on fear, past experiences, or imagined scenarios. When you force them to present evidence, they have none. They're just feelings masquerading as facts. So you challenge every single one. You demand proof. You cross-examine. You refuse to accept negative thoughts at face value. And most of them, they can't survive the interrogation. Weapon 3. Replace with truth. Killing negative thoughts isn't enough. You have to replace them with truth. Because your mind doesn't do well with vacuum. If you don't fill it with truth, negative thoughts will return. So for every negative thought you identify and challenge, you create a truthful replacement. Negative thought, I always fail. Truth, I've succeeded at many things before. I've learned from my failures. I'm more capable now than I was then. This time will be different because I'm different. Negative thought, I'm not talented enough. Truth, talent is overrated. Effort and consistency beat talent. I can develop the skills I need through practice. Many successful people started with less than I have. Negative thought, it's too late for me. Truth, Colonel Sanders started KFC at 62. Vera Wang entered fashion at 40. It's never too late to start. I have time, I have capability. I can do this. You actively, deliberately, intentionally replace negative thoughts with truth. And you don't just think the truth once, you repeat it, you write it down, you say it out loud, you condition your mind to default to truth instead of negativity. This isn't positive thinking, this is accurate thinking. You're not pretending everything is perfect, you're refusing to catastrophize and assume the worst. Weapon 4. Starve the negative, feed the positive. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you water grows, whatever you starve dies. Right now, you've been watering negative thinking, rehearsing failures, replaying embarrassments, imagining disasters, focusing on everything that could go wrong, and your negative thinking has grown into a jungle that's choking out everything good. So you're going to starve it. You're going to stop feeding it attention, time, and energy. When a negative thought appears, you acknowledge it, challenge it, replace it, and move on. You don't dwell on it. You don't analyze it for hours. You don't let it spiral into a catastrophe. You starve it of attention, and instead, you feed the positive.
You focus on what's going right, what you're grateful for, what you're improving at, what opportunities exist. You deliberately direct your attention to evidence of your capability, your growth, your potential. Not because you're ignoring reality, but because your current reality is heavily influenced by where you direct your attention. When you focus on negative, you see more negative, which creates more negative thinking, which creates more negative outcomes. When you focus on possibility, you see more opportunity, which creates more positive thinking, which creates more positive action, which creates better outcomes. You become what you focus on, so you starve the negative and feed the positive. Weapon 5. Take action despite the thoughts. Here's the ultimate weapon against negative thinking: action. Negative thoughts thrive in inaction. They multiply when you sit still. They convince you to wait, to hesitate, to avoid. But they shrivel and die when you take action despite them. The thought says you'll fail. You take action anyway. The thought says you're not ready. You take action anyway. The thought says people will judge you. You take action anyway. Because here's what action does. It generates evidence, real evidence, not imagined scenarios, actual data about what happens when you try. And usually what happens isn't as bad as the negative thoughts predicted. Usually you're more capable than you thought. Usually obstacles are more manageable than you feared. Each action you take despite negative thoughts weakens their power because you prove to yourself that the thoughts were wrong, that you can succeed despite the doubts, that your capability exceeds your fear. Over time, action becomes the automatic response to negative thinking. The thoughts appear and you immediately move. You don't wait for the thoughts to go away. You act while they're still present. And gradually, the thoughts lose their grip. because your track record of action and success becomes more compelling than your history of fear and avoidance. Weapon 6. Control your environment. Your environment heavily influences your thinking. If you're surrounded by negativity, your thinking will be negative. So you need to audit and control your environment ruthlessly. What content are you consuming? If it's news, social media drama, and complaint-filled conversations, you're programming your mind for negativity. Who are you spending time with? If they're pessimists who see problems in every opportunity, you're absorbing their negative thinking. What are you watching and reading? If it's content that makes you feel inadequate, anxious, or hopeless, you're feeding negative thinking. You need to eliminate these inputs completely. No negotiations. Stop consuming news that makes you afraid. Stop scrolling social media that makes you compare. Stop spending time with people who drain your energy and fill your mind with doubt. And replace these with positive inputs, content that educates, people who inspire, environments that elevate. You cannot win the battle against negative thinking while surrounded by sources that feed it. So you take control. You curate your mental space like it's sacred territory. Weapon 7. Daily mental training. Killing negative thinking isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice, a discipline, a commitment. Every single day, you need to train your mind the way athletes train their bodies. This means morning affirmations, starting your day by declaring truth instead of waiting for negative thoughts to set the tone. Journaling, writing down negative thoughts, challenging them, and replacing them with truth, getting them out of your head and onto paper where you can see how ridiculous they are. Meditation, training your mind to observe thoughts without being controlled by them, learning to create space between stimulus and response. Gratitude practice, actively focusing on what's good, what's working, what you're thankful for, rewiring your brain to default to appreciation instead of complaint. Evening review, analyzing your day, celebrating wins, learning from challenges, going to bed with empowering thoughts instead of negative rumination. These practices aren't optional, they're essential. They're how you build mental strength, how you develop the ability to control your thinking instead of letting it control you. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, every single day. That's how you kill negative thinking permanently. Now let me tell you what happens when you actually do this. Week 1 will be hard. You'll be shocked at how much negative thinking runs through your mind, how automatically it appears, how persistent it is. But you'll also notice something. When you challenge it, it weakens. When you replace it, you feel stronger. Week 2, you'll start catching negative thoughts faster, before they spiral, before they paralyze you. You'll get better at the weapons. Month 4, you'll notice a shift. The negative thoughts appear less frequently. They're less convincing. You dismiss them quickly and move forward. Month 3, your default thinking will have changed. You'll naturally think more accurately, more empowering, more focused on possibility. Month 6, people will notice. They'll ask what changed, why you seem more confident, more positive, more capable. And you'll tell them the truth. You killed your negative thinking. You stopped letting the enemy inside your head control your life. Because that's what this is, a war for control of your mind, and therefore control of your life. The negative thinking wants you to stay small, to play safe, to never risk, to never try, to die with your dreams still inside you. But you're not going to let that happen. Starting today, you're going to use every weapon I've given you. You're going to identify, challenge, replace, starve, act despite, control your environment, and train daily. You're going to kill your negative thinking before it kills your dreams. This won't be easy. The negative thoughts won't die quietly. They'll fight back. They'll get louder before they get quieter. But you're stronger. You're committed. You're armed with weapons that work. And every day you practice, you get better. Every day you fight, you win. Until one day, you realize the negative thinking is gone. The doubts are silent. The fears are powerless. And in their place, clarity, confidence, capability, the mental strength to pursue any goal, to overcome any obstacle, to become who you're meant to be. That's what's waiting for you on the other side of this battle. So pick up your weapons, identify that first negative thought, challenge it, replace it, take action despite it. Kill your negative thinking and watch what you become when your mind finally works for you instead of against you. The war starts now, and you're going to win.